Hello and welcome to the video. Today we're going to take a look at the new Thievil with the move Icy Wind on it. There's going to be of course a big update for Pokémon GO PP. It's a Pokemon that you're going to be very likely wanting to build. It's quite cheap to build, of course we just had the community day. And since when can you not get the community day move like the 5 hours afterwards? Like I always still only know it since then. I evolved mine at like 4 hours afterwards and I didn't get the move, so I had to use an Elite Term on this Pokemon, which is absolutely not worth it. But still, the Thievil is one of the Pokemon that got quite high up on PvPoke. Like, it's a Pokemon that is, I think, in the top 35 or something on PvPoke, so like, it's a very, very solid Pokemon in that. So I want to take a look at it, and I try different kind of teams, and this is the team I kind of stuck with now, which I think is the best team for it as well. Like, this is for sure, like, the team that I would recommend you to build. Because what we're going to have here is we're going to have Thievil in the back, we're going to have the Say-Stop of Diggersby with a Quick Attack, and we are going to have here the farm down as well. As the, Thievil is going to be our close-up, basically. Mainly, at least. You're also sometimes going to have the option to use it as your Say-Stop if the Diggersby, for example, is very, very good against the Pokemon that you're going to face there. For example, you have an electric type Pokemon in the lead. You're rather going to go to your Thievil Say-Stop and have Diggersby in the back compared to going into your Diggersby Say-Stop and then only having Thievil in the back. This is where you can kind of basically flip a little bit around on which Pokemon you kind of want to have up there. But this team itself was fantastic. Honestly, it worked out really, really well. Look at this first battle, it was actually really, really close. We go for the Sucker Punch down and worked out just barely against the Licky. I did have to say though, I went quite positive. With this team. This team was really, really nice. And so I would really recommend you to give it a try. Honestly, Mantine was fantastic. But my favorite Pokemon was actually the Diggersby, because you have a Pokemon that can sponge up those hits like it's nothing. And you're just going to be able to, just go ahead, go for the Fire Punch here. You're going to be able to just do so much damage. And I like Quick Attack more than the Mud Shot. I do know that Mud Shot, generally speaking, is considered to be the more like ideal one because it generates energy faster. But at the end of the day, it's going to be alright. We are going to be able to just do more fast move pressure like this. We have also now a little bit of an easier version for yourself, because you're just going to be able to be more neutral against Pokemon. Like, you're going to be better against like those flying type Pokemon, which otherwise you might struggle against. And that is kind of one of the main reasons why I do think that this is the ideal way. We're going to have here the Night Surge coming through against the Licky, and we're going to now try to just fully farm them down. We should be able to still survive. Thievil actually has some alright bulk. It's not very bulky, it's not very squishy, but in the back it's going to be Gastrodon, and our lead, Mantine, of course, is such a good Pokemon against that. Mantine is just typing-wise so strong in the current meta, it's kind of funny. I would really recommend you to give it a try. Alright, Altaria in the lead is actually somewhere where we have to kind of stay in this case. If they swap into you as an Altaria, you're actually going to be fine. But in comes now the Empoleon. I think I kind of misplayed this battle a little bit. I don't really have a fantastic answer here for Empoleon on this team. Yeah, like, Thievil is fine, but I kind of want to keep Thievil, of course, for the Altaria. That was my main idea. That's why I was like, oh, I'm just going to play this one out here. But in comes Drill Peck. I go for the Twister. This is going to mostly knock them, right? Or they're going to shield, let's see. They're going to shield this move up. At this point I should have just let the move go, I assume. But I decided to shield, which was a mistake, because they actually do have 2 moves stored, which they can get to. If I went to do Thievil prior, I would have just been able to farm down, which maybe would have been the best play, actually. Just swap out into Thievil, because now they're going to be able to knock me out. My charge move is going to go to waste, basically, and Thievil comes in, and we can just try to go for the Icy Wind now, trying to get the shield drop onto them. And we actually see that they're going to let the move go. Double Super Fit is not going to be enough to knock out the Altaria though. Very bulky Pokemon, but I didn't really expect that. In the back is going to be Jellicent, but now I can go ahead and go for the Icy Wind, as I know I wouldn't get to another Sucker Punch. And this is going to force the shield, get them low, but also allows me to go into my Diggersby now, which will be able to resist the fast moves, will be taking super effective damage from Surf, but they know that not even 2 Surfs going to be enough to knock me out. They need to go for 3 Surfs, and then they still have to deal with Thievil, which they're not going to be able to do. So yeah, they knew that this game is over. I can just counter them, or like Quick Attack them down now, and we can move on to the next opponent. Next up, we're going to have Annihilape against us. In the back is going to be now the Licky, and I stay in for a little bit and then swap out, because actually Diggersby is one of the best answers to the Licky. As Earthquake is barely doing anything, the fast move, of course, is going to be resisted. We can go for the Scorching stance, and this is now a fantastic play for us. It's going to allow us to get them a little bit lower. And now we are going to be able to just let the move go again. Earthquake is not going to threaten us, while Scorching Sand is definitely going to threaten us. And then, so we're going to be in a very good position here. This is going to allow us to go for the full farm down, have a ton of energy now. Even if they're going to go into their Annihilape, we can get some damage in. This is actually really handy, because now the damage itself is going to allow us to just put them into range where I don't really need to care too much about what we need to go for. But in the back it's going to be carving, and this is going to be now a bit difficult, because I don't really have a way of dealing with this carving. I'm forced to go into my Thievil, and of course Thievil is going to be ending up later on against that Annihilape, but I also need to get rid of the energy on my other Pokemon here in order to be able to store hopefully more up later on, because what is going to happen here eventually is that they're going to swap out into their own Annihilape again. I need to kind of go into my Mantine then and try to get as much energy as possible. I was very late at swapping here, which is really unfortunate. This was actually something that's going to be quite hurtful for us, because now we are way lower in this case, but also they can still get to the move, which they would have not been able to if I was swapped out a bit faster. Like, my swapping was not ideal. I am going to go for the Twister, hoping that they're going to go for the shield, because I need to kind of play a bit risky, and they didn't. That's game. That was actually quite an interesting play by the opponent, because I feel like if I went for the water move there, I would have been actually in a very good position there. Here we have a Jumpluff, and you might wonder, okay, why is he going to go for the move? I wanted this now as well. I should just swapped out straight into my Thievul and just went for the Icy Wind. I'm fairly certainly guaranteed to win this in the 2-shot scenario, even though you do get super effective damage from the opponent's fast move. I still think you're going to be alright. But yeah, by the way, there's going to be cool Pokemon coming up very, very soon as well. It will take me a few days until I'm going to be able to showcase it, but there is going to be, I forgot the name of this Pokemon, like the Cramorant. Cramorant is going to come into the game, as well as Barraskewda, I think, Barraskewda is going to be not very strong, but Cramorant is going to be interesting because it has its own unique way of playing with Dive, I think. I don't know how things are currently in the code. I have been taking a bit of a break towards Pokemon GO, I have to admit, like for this season. I want to do a little bit more next season again, because I think it's going to be a bit of a better season, but I really didn't enjoy this season, so that's why I'm not Legend either, because I just didn't do any games, personally. But now, we are going to be able to go ahead and, yeah, go for the Twister, get the KO, in comes Ninetales. We're going to still have our own Diggersby in the back. I try to catch the move, it's alright though, because I should be able to just go for Scorching Sand. But then, I didn't realize that Energy Ball actually is going to 2-shot us. I thought we would be able to survive another one. And so I'm forced to use a shield here now. And I'm forced to make a decision. And I decided to go straight for the Scorching Sands, hoping that I could swap out straight away afterwards. Which I actually can't, but it doesn't matter, because the opponent just let the move go, expecting the bait, and we win the battle. Next up, fantastic lead for ourselves. In comes the Melamar. And I think it's good that I went for this charge move here, because at the end of the day, it just allows me to guarantee align myself, I think. As now I will be forced to use the shield against the potential of superpower, of course. But I am going to be able to put them into range where I can just knock them out here. But it turns out that Thievil's fast move pressure, by the way, I've never got the Night Slash boost, which also helps out Thievil a lot. Got nerfed a little bit recently at the Night Slash boost, but I can actually go for the full farm down here, which I noticed. And now I'm going to be able to go ahead and go for the Icy Wind as well, which is going to be fine. This is going to drop the opponent's attack a bit, and we can try our best to go for another Icy Wind soon as well. As we still have, of course, now the alignment that we want to have. They have the Annihilape, which I have our lead for, and we have the Carving, which I still have our Diggersby for. And so, like, I'm actually in the right position. I really hope that they actually want to swap out here. That would be ideal for us. But they do that exactly this, which is kind of funny. Like, this is actually really nice for us. But then again, we have a bit of an issue now. The opponent has quite a bit of an energy lead, and the Rage Fist is coming in, doing a lot of damage, and they actually going to 2-shot us now, as they're going to use the shield definitely here. I am in a bit of a tough spot, because the Twister is not going to come through. I'm forced to go still for a Fire Punch, but does the opponent not have another charge move stored in at this point? I'm not too sure. They actually, I think, went straight for the moves usually. I overfarm expecting them to swap, and they go for the Moonblast, which makes a lot of sense, of course, for them. They're going to do a lot of damage here. But I am not really expecting this move here to come through, which is the Rock Slide. But actually works out quite well, because I get up to 2 Scorching Sands, 100 energy on my Diggersby. The first move, knocking out this Pokemon. The second move, knocking out the Shadow Annihilape in the back. And this is going to be it. It's going to be a good game, and we can move on to the next opponent. What I realized is that there are a lot of fighting type leads right now, which maybe they want to counter Thievil, I'm not too sure. But here again, I'm just going to utilize them swapping out, which means we have a fast move, like a turn ahead, allowing me to get this damage off here. But also I'm now going to be able to speed still with my own Thievil against the opponent's next charge move. Of course, we're going to go for Icy Wind here, as Night Slash is going to be resisted. Icy Wind is not going to be enough to knock them out though. It's going to be enough to get them kind of low though. And we're just going to be able to go ahead and take the Icy Wind. And they swap out actually into the Mage Gem, which I didn't really understand why. Because it allows me to go for another Icy Wind. And yes, it doesn't do a lot of damage. And yes, maybe I could have even stored it for later on. But it just makes the matchup for Mantine so much easier. Like, Mantine just is here to soak up the Ice Punches, which are now debuffed and just generally not that strong. And I can just let the moves go through. That's not really an issue. It's going to be now the Ice Punch coming in. And I will be able to go for Water Balls. And this is going to be fine. This is going to allow us to get the damage onto them. And yeah, let's see. Ninetales comes in. They stop out trying to catch the move. That worked out really well for them. And at this point, it's game over. Like, they don't know that yet. I know that for sure. It's game over. At this point, I can even take 2 energy balls, but I also have 2 shields left and have another water move coming through against them, which in this case is actually going to land. And this just, wins us the game immediately. Okay, Togekiss against us is going to be a matchup where I kind of just worried about Dazzling Gleam. That's the only thing. If they have Dazzling Gleam, like, they would go for it now. So I want to go for a shield first. If they have Psyshock, I can easily take one and I can play this matchup out. Because actually Togekiss is quite bad for our backline. We don't really want to face it at all there. But here, the Water Pulse is coming in, getting them low. I am going to be able to just, let this move go. It's going to be the Psyshock. And I'm going to be able to go for the full farm against the opponent. As now, we can try our best to go for more damage. Licky comes in. This was a mistake then. I should have swapped out straight away into my Thievil, which I didn't understand here because they have Annihilape in the back. I only noticed now, of course. And now my lead was actually a little bit too low. As long as I maybe I can go for 2 moves. I don't know. Maybe I can go for another charge move here. Who knows? Because Thievil actually can still take the counter and we can go for the Night Slash, which is actually huge. Because now they should be into farm down range for our, or they're just going to use the shield. And now we're going to have the Twist at the same time, which means we win this battle. They have Licky against our Diggersby unless they're running Solar Beam, which I'm apparently the only person who really wants to run Solar Beam in the Great League. We're going to be fine. They actually still have a few HP left, but that's why we kept our other Pokemon alive. That's why I kept our Mantine alive and stopped out straight away. But like this, we are in a position where I can just go ahead and go for the Scorching Sands. I go for good timing, by the way, which makes a lot more sense than doing what the opponent does. Especially if, like, with the opponent having Boyas, I mean, it doesn't really matter. But we can just go ahead and go for the better timing, get more fast move damage in, get them into farm down range, get the attack drop onto them. They forfeit, and we can move on to the next opponent. Second to last battle here of this day. I did more of the battles with this team. I did also have quite a few more wins than what you've seen there, which was kind of cool. Like, I really enjoyed the team. The team was fantastic. But here we have Shadow Ninetales, which is really bad, and then we have Blasters, which is just very neutral for a Thievul. Like, it's not bad. I was very late at swapping here, which was bad for me personally. That was my mistake. But I think in a head-to-head battle, I think actually Blasters loses against Thievul, because Thievul should outspeed it. Generally speaking, I think if you have good fast move timing, you should be able to outspeed it all the time with Thievul. And you have more fast move pressure, so like generally it's a better matchup for ourselves. And if you're wondering, why is he going into a Diggersby here? I thought Diggersby does more fast move pressure, to be fair. But also I was like, I need to have like somewhat of energy for the Ninetales. I need to get shields down for the Ninetales. So I'm just gonna go for the Fire Punch here, have a Fire Punch stored, try to do some super effective damage with the Diggersby here first, before I then stop out into my Mantine eventually and try to go ahead and go for the Water Pulse. As we see here, this is going to be the Water Ball Ice coming in. I can go for a Fire Punch against the opponent. And this is going to be alright. It's going to do some solid damage. And I can go for the Twister, which is going up against a Stun Fist. Fantastic catch on the opponent. I thought like, oh, they're going to swap out into something that can take water type damage. So I swapped and went for the other move here. Went for the Twister instead. But it is what it is. They went for a great play here. Twister now comes still through, which is going to force their final shield. But the thing is here, I am still in a bad spot. The opponent has a charge move stored onto their Ninetales. They have 2 charge moves stored here, so they're just gonna go for the combo play, and that game is over. Like, there's nothing that I can do here. Ninetales itself is very tough for me to deal with for this team, I would say. And the way things just happened here just didn't really work out well for me. But good game to the opponent, well played, and we can move on to the final one for this video. Again, I did a few more battles, but this was actually my favorite, I think. Because this showcases you exactly what I was just saying. If they would have went for Bug Bite, I would have stayed in with my lead. As we saw that they have Volt Switch, I subbed out into my Thievil. And this was definitely my favorite game of them all. And Thievil did absolutely nothing in this battle. Of course, it doesn't do anything against any kind of fairy type Pokemon. Like, they're very bad against fairy type Pokemon because they're also usually very bulky. But here against Azumarill, Icy Wind is going to be resisted. The Sucker Punch is resisted. The Night Slash is resisted, and we barely do anything. Like, we got them halfway down. They have a ton of energy. We are in a very bad position. They have the Fortress, which is really bad for us. And they sub out into Fortress, which allows me now to bring in my actual counter, Diggersby, which is usually my safe sub. But in this case, because I saw electric type damage in the lead, I sub out into my other Pokemon. It worked out quite well. And they're just kind of forced to go for the Sandom the entire time, as we can now go for a Fire Punch. This is going to be very good for us, because we can just go ahead and get them low, but not knock them out, and just get so much energy against them. And this is even better needy for me, as I enjoy the energy a lot. We have now energy as well against the Azumarill, but I'm going to sub out here against the Azumarill, and they go into the Bastion in the back. And I was like, Bastion is mostly going to be very, very bad for Mantine, but it turns out that Mantine is so bulky, it actually doesn't hurt as much as I thought. I'm not in the range where they would ever really farm me down. And so I can just go for the Water Pulse spam, and we see here 3 Water Pulses look like they do enough damage, but also we see that our Switch Choke is coming up after this charge move, allowing me to get a bit more energy onto my Diggersby before, they go onto their Azumarill. Now I can force all of their shields, and I'm alright with that. We can get the first shield from the opponent. We force to shield ourselves as well, because we of course want to get our charge move off. But as you see, the Scorching Sand is coming in. This is going to allow us to get the final shield from the opponent. And now it's down to Mantine. Of course, they're going to be able to knock me out here, which is great. But Mantine has a ton of energy. And I also their energy dry on the Azumarill, which means I can just get energy here, go for the Water Pulse against the opponent's Bastion. It is HP enough to knock them out already. And now I just need another Water Pulse to knock out the Azumarill. And this is going to be it for this game. This is going to be it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. And I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.